Hey guys, welcome to another All Dirt Adventure day. This is, about a week before we're actually going to be heading out to Colorado, so we're still doing a lot of actual prep work. One of the things that I'll actually be working on today is just really fixing or attempting to fix a really annoying leak that I've had for a little bit of time since I've actually put this AGR steering system in. Do you want to say hi? But it's and honestly I don't know if it was AGR, if it was probably us when we were trying to install this thing in here, but I did find when we were actually welding on this track bar bracket that I did a video on earlier, that there is either a notch or something in the casting of the actual Saginaw 1-ton box that this AGR kit comes with. I'm gonna get my handy dandy flashlight here for you, and what it's been looking like in here, it may be a little hard to see. You can see how just on the box itself it looks wet, and I've had this persistent small little leak coming from somewhere. And when we were doing the actual welding of this bracket, I don't know if it'll focus in here. See that little notch right there? I believe that's actually where it's coming from. So one of the things we'll be doing today is attempting to fix that, and really we're just going to try to see if any of the JB Weld, all that stuff that they say has high PSI rating actually works. So this will be more or less a test of that, because the last thing I really want to do is have to just tear it apart and try to find it. And plus, I think AGR is actually, I think they're out of business. I haven't been able to see anything on there. They used to have a contact, used to be able to contact, and now the phone does nothing. So I'm going to assume that it's gone. Now I actually do have to take out this inner fender liner, and of course in all dirt fashion, or just Robert fashion, I really just use a lot of self-tapping screws to kind of hold it into the metal. So it really shouldn't be too bad to get it out here. Now of course I reused the factory holes here. This is, my Jeep is what we call a 10-footer. That from 10 feet it looks awesome. Now whenever you actually get up close to it, you start to see that kind of this stuff's a little janky, but you know what, it's worked for about 4 years, and we're just gonna do that trend. So we're gonna see. Now hey, what we will be testing today is going to be the JB Weld steel reinforcement epoxy. Excuse me, let me say that again, steel reinforcement epoxy. So we're gonna see if this is actually gonna work. If you've never used this, it's, come on, focus, forward focus. Okay, never mind. All right, so so it takes about 4 to 6 hours to actually cure. So once I actually put this on here, I'll probably end up just rolling the Jeep back into the actual driveway here and just leaving it outside. Just because the amount of pressure that these pumps produce, I don't want to immediately start it and then it just blows through the epoxy once it's actually set in there. But I have actually used this before a few times when the Jeep actually blew the original radiator. Actually had a crack down the plastic, which these are notorious for. So if you have a Jeep, you've probably gone through this before. But the plastic snout, the snout at the end where the actual inlet is, hose blew off and it cracked it. So I don't know if it was one versus the other or whatever happened, but regardless of it, it cracked it. I actually used this to seal it back up, and it actually worked pretty well. And then it's cracked further down, so we end up just replacing the entire radiator on the vehicle, and just the easiest way to do it. But this stuff works. Like I said, we'll put a link on here if it is something that you are planning on attempting to just fix. If it works, we'll see, but it's highly recommended just to have it in your toolkit anyways. Alright guys, so now that I have it actually out here, you're actually able to see exactly what I'm talking about. You can see just how wet the surface is. Let me get my flashlight. So you can see that little hole right up there on top. So of course, going to spray this all down with brake cleaner. Just make sure we got a good clean surface to apply all this to, and then we'll just epoxy it up and see what happens. Now when I put this stuff on, I'm gonna be pretty liberal with it. It's about the only time you'll ever see me be liberal about anything. So we'll get a good clean surface here. And the reason I'm spraying this on the towel versus just dousing it on here, because I've painted a lot of this stuff recently since we've done the track bar bracket, I don't really want to damage the paint that is on here, because you guys know brake cleaner is a very, very good cleaner, but also does break down paint, anything like that. So just to avoid it, we're gonna do it this way. It's a little bit more work, get a nice little burn on your fingers, but at least we know it's done correctly.
What did you film? The one my video game film? I don't want to film.
All right. Got us a good clean surface now. So we should be able to get us a good view here. Alrighty, so next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and mix this epoxy. Now this JB Weld steel reinforcement epoxy, you can actually get this to where it's very, very simple to do. You literally unscrew the tab, you pour it on here, you mix it. It's all going to be the correct amount of epoxy per hardener that you actually need on here, and it works perfectly well. So very simple process. Of course, just pop your lid here. We're going to squeeze a good amount on here. I actually don't have very much left, so I'm going to use the rest of it. So once you have that on there, you can use really just about anything to actually mix it. Now the kit itself will actually come with a little stir stick. Of course, I've lost that because I'm a child. So I'm gonna use a flathead to mix. So whenever you're mixing this, it's basically going to start off as two different colors. Once you actually get it to one solid consistency of a gray color, which you're starting to see here, then we know it's properly mixed. But it's very, very important on this, guys, that you do mix this properly. If not, the hardener versus the other chemical component in here will not set properly, and you'll just have issues. So, but it should be about this color in here, kind of that steel gray epoxy looking color. So, and then of course, whenever you're ready to do it, after it's set, it's simple. You literally just cover what you need with it and let it sit. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Don't breathe on it. Let it sit for 4 to 6 hours. I always let it sit at least 6 hours, just the max, so I know for sure 100% it is set properly. One thing I will say about this epoxy is it stinks. Now I know, guys, I didn't have a huge spot that I had to cover, but the reason I am doing it such a big scape here, or such a big just broad stroke, is just to make sure that if this does work, that this has a lot of surface area to kind of keep everything set properly. Remember, guys, we're trying to achieve the 10-foot rule here, and I think we did pretty good. Man, that looks good, boys and girls. Get you in here so you can see that. Oh yeah, Profesh. Oh my gosh. This is how to fix things to the bare minimum with Roberts, and we'll see if they'll hold. So, but that guys, that's about it. So I'll do a follow up here in a few hours, and we'll see how well it actually sat. Outside of that, gonna enjoy this day. It's actually gonna be like mid 90s, so we're super happy. The past couple days we've just been sweating. Like, walk outside and I'm sweating. Like, smell like bacon kind of sweating.
Me too.
I love it. All right, guys, it is roughly 8 hours later since we actually did the epoxy fix here, and actually just went on a test drive. And good news, it's not leaking anymore. So I'll show you here. It's kind of hard to focus, but completely dry. It's actually set up really, really well. a good layer everywhere. And of course I did it more than just a spot, so that way we had, you know, if it was a very high pressure spot, we had a bigger base to spread that pressure across. But everything looks good, so I'm happy, satisfied. Gonna go ahead and get this turret all put back together, and we will call that a success. So definitely recommend that epoxy, guys. Of course, guys, please like and subscribe to our channel. That helps us out tremendously. Of course, any feedback, any chats, any DMs, I mean, that stuff is awesome. So let us know what we can do better. Of course, we're all still learning. We'll have a link down to a couple of the things that we talked about today, so that way you have access to it. And of course, this goes to help us out here. So, but guys, thank you again. It was a pleasure, and of course, stay tuned. All Dirt Adventure.